The sky over the Golan Heights was a bruise of smoke and dust. It was October 1973, the Yom Kippur War, and Israel's northern frontier burned under the relentless assault of the Syrian army. Their T-55 and T-62 tanks surged forward in steel waves, intent on crushing the thin line of Israeli defenders. On a ridgeline overlooking the valley, Captain Yossi Levin sat inside the turret of his Centurion Mk 5 Sho't. Sweat dripped down his neck despite the October chill. The radio crackled with frantic voices, commanders calling for reinforcements that wouldn't arrive in time. "Yossi," said his loader, Eli, "it's just us and 3 other tanks left in this sector. If they break through—" "They won't," Yossi cut in. His voice was steady, but his hands gripped the commander's periscope handles tight. "Not while we're breathing." Below them, the first wave of Syrian armor came into view, at least 30 tanks moving in a staggered line, dust boiling behind them. Infantry carriers followed in their wake like shadows. Yossi keyed his radio. "Sho't 1 to all call signs. Hold fire until they cross the wadi. We hit them in the flanks. Make every round count." The range closed rapidly. Yossi's gunner, David, tracked a T-62 through his sight. The loader stood ready with a fresh 105mm shell. "Range, 1,200 meters, David whispered. "On my mark," Yossi said. His heartbeat matched the thrum of the engine. The Syrian tanks plunged into the shallow wadi, their silhouettes briefly hidden. The Centurion's gun roared, spitting flame. The first T-62 erupted in a bloom of smoke and steel, its turret blown skyward. 2 more Israeli tanks joined in, their shots slamming into the enemy formation. "Reload!" Eli shouted, ramming another shell into the breach. The Syrian column slowed, confusion rippling through it. Yossi's crew fired again. Another T-62 burst into flames. Then the enemy gunners returned fire. The ridge shook under the hammering impacts of 115mm rounds. Shards of rock and dirt rained down on the Centurion. "Hit on Sho't 3, the radio crackled. "They're bailing out." Yossi gritted his teeth. "Keep firing. Aim for the lead tanks. Stop their momentum." Minute by minute, the battle turned into a deadly rhythm. Load, aim, fire, kill. The Centurion's thick armor deflected near misses, but every clang of impact sent a shiver through the crew. 5 tanks down. Then 8. Then 11. The Syrian advance slowed, but more vehicles emerged from the dust, a second wave. "They just keep coming," Eli muttered, his voice tight. "They'll run out before we do," Yossi replied, though he knew their ammo racks were thinning fast. A shell slammed into the ridge just meters from their position, rocking the Centurion violently. Alarms wailed as smoke filled the fighting compartment. "Fire control's good." David coughed. "We're still in the fight." "Good. Keep it that way." Yossi's tank shifted position, using the ridge to shoot and scoot, denying the Syrians an easy target. His crew worked like a machine, loader, gunner, driver all anticipating each other's moves. At 1,800 meters, David put a round straight through a T-55's frontal armor. At 900 meters, they caught another in the side, setting off its ammo rack. By midday, the ridge was littered with burning wrecks. The smell of diesel, cordite, and scorched earth filled the air. Then came the third wave. "Yossi, that's at least 20 more tanks," David said, peering through the sight. "They're not giving up," Eli added grimly. Yossi's radio crackled again. "Sho't 1, this is command. Fall back to secondary positions." He looked at the valley below, now a graveyard of Syrian steel. If they retreated now, the remaining Syrian armor would punch through and flank the Israeli infantry further west. He couldn't let that happen. "Negative, command. We hold here." There was a pause. Then, "Understood. Good hunting, Sho't 1. Yossi drew in a slow breath. "All right, boys, let's make them regret climbing this hill." The Syrians charged hard, their guns blazing. Shells slammed into the ridge, showering the Centurion in dirt and stone. One hit their frontal glacis, the armor held, but the shock rattled the crew's teeth. "Loader, APDS." Eli slammed the sabot round into the breech. "On target," David called. "Fire." Another T T-62 went up in flames. Then another. The Centurion's gun barked again and again, smoke pouring from its muzzle. 15 kills. Then 17. Then 20. But as they destroyed the 20th tank, a Syrian shell finally found its mark. The explosion tore into the left track, locking the Centurion in place. Warning lights blazed on the instrument panel. "We've lost mobility," shouted Avi, the driver. "Keep firing," Yossi barked. "They'll overrun us if we stop." They fought on, the tank now a stationary fortress. Another T-62 closed to within 500 meters, its turret swinging toward them. "Fire!" Yossi yelled. David's shot pierced its armor. The enemy tank detonated in a blinding blast. A second T-62 appeared, and then a third. The Centurion's coaxial machine gun chattered, driving back Syrian infantry advancing alongside the armor. A shell screamed overhead and struck behind them. Heat washed through the open commander's hatch. Yossi's crew was running out of ammo, just 3 AP rounds left. "They're circling us," David warned. Yossi scanned the horizon. The rest of the Israeli tanks were gone, knocked out or fallen back. They were alone. "Loader, last rounds. Make 'em count." Eli's hand shook, but he loaded fast. The first shot took out a T-55 at close range. The second slammed into the lead vehicle of a flanking maneuver, blocking the path. The third round was for the tank that had been stalking them from the right, the one that might have been their executioner. The Centurion's gun thundered one last time, and the Syrian tank exploded in a shower of metal and fire. Silence. The Syrians pulled back, unwilling to lose more armor to the single stubborn Israeli tank that had already claimed over 20 of their comrades. Inside the Centurion, the crew sat breathing hard, ears ringing. They were alive, but their tank was crippled, their ammo racks empty. Yossi keyed the radio, Sho't 1 to command. "Ridge is secure for now." There was a long pause before command replied. "Understood, Sho't 1. Reinforcements en route." You've done enough." Yossi leaned back in his seat, exhaustion crashing over him. Through the periscope, he saw the valley, a killing field of burning armor, the air thick with smoke and dust. His crew had held the line. Against impossible odds, they had stopped the advance. He thought of the old Israeli saying, "A single tank in the right place, at the right time, can change the course of a battle."